Here we have a rabbi who provides spiritual nourishment and physical nourishment in the most wonderful way. Rabbi Hill Yeshakar, for the manner in which you lead this community, the inspiration you are, the lovely Rebbetzin you have, the wonderful family you have. And for me as Chief Rabbi, it's just so nice for me to see an outstanding Rabbi in Rebbetzin, totally at home in this community, and looking after the community in so many different ways, in such a spectacular fashion. And thank you also so much for everything else you do for the Jewish community here. Always on hand, always there to help and to lead. And you're joined by an outstanding team of honorary officers. And just seeing the evening that it's been put on here tonight is a reflection of the warmth of this community, the friendship that exists here. You're great as a kehillah, and please God you will grow in the future, because I think that there is tremendous potential in this area for growth, both as a residential centre and within the community, and you have all my assistance and help and encouragement in this regard. I want to share with you a story about two men who were on the platform of a railway station waiting for a train to come in. And there was an older fellow and a younger fellow. The younger fellow turns to the older fellow and says, "Excuse me, sir, what's the time?" Older man doesn't answer. He says, "Excuse me, what's the time?" And the fellow then turns his back. So the younger man walks around and he says, "I see there's a watch on your wrist. What's the time?" Older fellow says, "I'm not telling you." So the younger fellow says, "Well, do you mind telling me why you won't tell me?" Older man says, "Well, it's simple." He says, "You ask me what the time is, I will tell you what the time is. Then you'll say thank you, I'll say it's a pleasure. We'll pass some comments about the weather. Past few days, the forecast for the next few days, the train will come into the station. I'll get on, you'll sit next to me. We'll discuss current affairs, we'll discuss politics, we'll discuss sport, we'll get on quite well together. We'll exchange our contact details. And then you'll get off, and then later on I'll get off. After a few months you'll be in my area, you'll knock on my door, you'll come inside. My wife will offer you some tea, you'll sit down, we'll be chatting, then my daughter will walk in. You'll take a liking to my daughter, and then you'll start dating her. And after 6 months you'll come and you'll tell me that you're engaged to my daughter. And in all honesty, sir, I don't want to have a son-in-law who can't afford a watch." Now, there are some people who will go out of their way not to connect with other people. And as Chief Rabbi, my greatest delight is the opportunities provided to me to connect, to go around communities, to see what amazing people we have, the warmth within our communities, the outstanding leaders that we have, the length and breadth of this country. And recently I've also been to some Commonwealth countries, and we're just blessed as a Jewish community. And I just love connecting with people. And so very often when I say hello to people, what follows is a point of connection. You know my so-and-so, or we last met wherever it is. And it could be a place where I've lived, it could be a relative of mine, it could be anything possible. And it's beautiful that people always want to connect. Sometimes I get unexpected connections. I remember before I was Chief Rabbi, I was once in the aisle of the Tesco supermarket. And a lady comes up to me and she says, "Hello." And I said, "Hello." And she said, "You remember me, don't you?" And I said, "Well, could you remind me?" She said, "Of course, you married me." And then she told me, that her 2 children subsequently, etc. Now, I don't think that I've told the story as often as a non-Jewish lady who was standing within earshot has told the story about this Jewish fellow who has married so many women he can't remember where they are. And sometimes you come across people, again, in an unexpected way. I recall soon after we came to live in London, and I was then the rabbi at Marble Arch, and it was Seder night. And one of our children took ill. It was after the Seder. I called the doctor on rota. He came round. It was about 1 a.m. in the morning. And he checked out my son, and he said, wrote out a prescription. He said, "All right, you should get this medicine now." And of course, even though it's Yontif, you must break Yontif for the sake of health. So I was doing the right thing, of course. But then I had this dilemma. He wrote out the prescription. I said, where am I going to get the medicine from? He said, on Oxford Street, there's Bliss Pharmacy. It's a 24-hour-a-day chemist. You can pop in there, and off the doctor went. So now it was about 1:30 in the morning, and I have to go on Yom Tov onto Oxford Street. So I took some headed notepaper that I had, and I was walking down Oxford Street. I'd never walked Oxford Street such an hour in the morning. Amazing things that happened there. I'm looking all around, hoping nobody would see me. I come into the Bliss Pharmacy. I go over to the prescription desk. I hand over the piece of paper, and I said to the pharmacist, I said, I'm the rabbi of the local community, and here you've got my details. I can't pay for the medicine now, and straight after the festival, I'll come in to pay. Could you please give me the medicine? So I'll never forget his answer. He said, Rabbi, there are 2 things I want to tell you. The first is this is an NHS prescription, you don't have to pay. At that time, you didn't have to pay. And the second thing I want to say to you is, good Yom Tov. So, wherever you are, the person will make a connection. I was going on one occasion, a number of years ago, to an outdoor wedding to officiate. And I was on my way there, and suddenly I thought, you know, I've got everything that I need, the ketubah and all the various items I need for the religious service. But then, had anybody bothered to actually provide a glass for the groom to break? So, on the way I stopped at a large hardware store, and I went inside, and I was standing there looking at some glasses. And a lady comes over and she says, can I help you, sir? I said, yes. It's a funny kind of thing, I said. I'm looking for a glass that's easy to break. She said, mazel tov. So it's great to meet people wherever one might be and to make these connections. And I think it's so important today within our challenging world, because there are some people who are going out of their way not to make connections, to break that connecting point, in order that, God forbid, they can cause harm. You see, the Nazis, Yamach Shmam, during the war, realized the power of connections. And that is why in Auschwitz they branded numbers on our arms, in order to ensure that from their point of view, they had dehumanized us to the extent that we were just mere numbers, like heads of cattle. And as a result, they could treat us with disdain in that subhuman way. And during the coming few days, we will be marking the 70th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz-Birkenau. Tomorrow evening, I'll be privileged to participate in the launch of the 70 Days for 70 Years project here in London. A week ago, I led a mission, the United Synagogue, to Israel. Steve Peck, our president, and Cheryl were with us. It was a very memorable and very special occasion. And in fact, I could spend an entire evening speaking about our marvelous experiences. And one of our experiences was on Sunday night last week. I launched together with Chief Rabbi Israel Meir Lau the 70 for 70 project in Israel, and there will be another launch in New York and in other places soon. And we're calling upon members of our community to learn over a period of 70 days a little piece, to educate themselves further on each one of these days in memory of a person, a named person who was a victim of the Shoah. It's a very powerful project, and I hope that you and your friends and members of your families will participate in this very worthwhile endeavor. And then as well, on Tuesday, we will actually have the 70th anniversary of the liberation. And during the past year, I've been privileged to be one of the 11 commissioners of the Holocaust Commission. And on Tuesday, David Cameron, the Prime Minister, will be making an important announcement, because over the past year, we've been sifting through material, the evidence that has been given by survivors, recommendations and suggestions given by more than 4,000 people as to how we in Great Britain can memorialize the Shoah. Because there are iconic structures, museums, resource centers, places where you can come and offer a prayer. What we have currently is a stone at the Dell in Hyde Park, totally insufficient. And we have a number of outstanding museums dotted around the country, most prominently Beth Shalom in Nottinghamshire. But this country surely needs to do more in order to recall the Shoah. So we have, as a Holocaust Commission, formulated